Hey, another instant favorite episode today with Laura Belgray. She's just so funny and so generous in everything she shares. And I want to remind you that she will be a presenter at Copy Chief Live on November 9th, 10th, and 11th. We are all virtual this year, so you don't have to travel. You don't have to worry about germs. You just come and let us help you take your freelancing business to the next level. Whether you're a copywriter, any kind of creative marketing pro can apply what they'll learn at this event. The amazing speaker lineup: Paris Lampropoulos, David Deutsch, Selena Sue, Adrian Dorson, Ryan Lee, Mike McAllowitz, Jessica May Stafford. It's just incredible. Chris Orzakowski. Everybody I've asked to come on and teach something brand new that has made the biggest impact in their career, so that we can bottle that up, package it up, and create a playbook that you can use, that you can create in real time at this event, and then go apply going into next year and see your business phase forward into a more glorious thing that works for you, so you don't feel like you're working for it all the time. Can't wait to do this with you. Again, November 9th, 10th, and 11th. Copychief.live is where you go to get tickets. And I've priced it as friendly as I could for just about anybody who wants to be there to be able to attend. And we're also going to connect you with a lot of companies who are very eager to hire creative marketing pros right now. So big job opportunities there as well. Copychief.live. I'll see you there right now. Enjoy this great episode with Laura Belgray. Welcome to Copy Chief Radio. Today's show is a freelancer's journey episode where successful freelancers share the tactical moves that catapulted their careers through the phases of the freelancer's journey. To see all 7 phases, where you are now, and how to move forward, head over to copychief.com/phases. To check out all the Copy Chief Radio episode types, go to copychief.com/CCR. I'm with Laura Belgray today, which makes it a special day. This may be the 5th time I've had Laura on the show, but it'll never be enough, Laura.
Nor for me. I keep coming back. You know, it feels like coming home every time I do a podcast with you.
I appreciate it. It's so great. And I was telling you, and I meant it sincerely, because you were nice enough to promote the event that you're nice enough to be a part of, once again, Copy Chief Live. And I said, I'm such a fan of your emails. When you mention me in the emails, it's like I had a walk-on in my favorite show. So it feels.
What show would you have a walk-on? Like back in the day, what show would you have wanted to have a walk-on?
Oh man, maybe like Three's Company would have been great.
Oh yeah.
That's way back in the day.
And you have a catchphrase and you walk in the door.
Oh, that'd be great. Or I'd want to be what's the movie I'm thinking of with the kids in high school and they're all misfits and they have to
Saved by the Bell?
No, I'm thinking of the movie, the famous one with Molly Ringwald and all those.
Oh, The Breakfast Club.
Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
I would want to be the misunderstood guy, come on the show and I'm like a scam artist or something. And Chrissy she's like defending me, but Jack has his suspicions. And then he exposes me, gives me the chance to come clean to Chrissy.
And there's a hilarious double entendre misunderstanding, overheard conversation.
Yeah, for sure.
Where they think that you're boning Chrissy, but actually you're talking about hanging up a shower curtain.
Exactly. That's
by the way.
Not that I thought about this.
It's funny. No, of course not. It's funny that you bring up Three's Company, because I think about that show sometimes because they're in the context of copywriting and emails and marketing, because there was an episode, which I could probably Google. I haven't seen it since the 70s, probably since I was a kid, but it was where I think Jack got into some business that sold what was called sucker lists. And it was lists of everyone's contacts that you would sell it to a marketing, like a con artist. Maybe you would play that person and sell people's data. And I don't even know if it was illegal then. And then the person who bought it could spam them with junk mail.
Wow. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
I could just see that some writer must have fallen prey to that, or something. That's a very like specific thing to make a storyline.
It is,
For back
especially
then.
for Three's Company.
Yeah, I would only want to, if I was an actor, I would have to do roles that were nothing like me because I can't act at all because I'm the whole sort of, oh no, just act natural, say it like you'd say it thing completely throws me. I think I would have to be one of those actors who was kind of going over the top with stuff to pull it off.
Right. And then that's where your catchphrase comes in.
Yeah.
You'll have something where you walk in the door and you're like, it's copy time.
Yeah. Cowabunga or something,
Yeah. So
something.
you can start the freelancers boot camp with that.
Oh, with a catchphrase. I like that.
Yes, with the catchphrase.
Yeah. Maybe I'll wear just like a big different hat every day and just come on. That's how I'll keep it really interesting. Yeah. So I wanted to ask you though, have you ever acted or tried to act?
Well, I was going to say no, but well, first of all, I was on this doesn't really count, but I was on the show Open to Sesame Street.
Right.
When I was 2 years old. That doesn't count as acting. I just had to be me that was a dream gig, just sit on a swing and get pushed. That's the gig that we're all looking for, really. And then I did some improv. Of course, there's like high school acting, and I auditioned for a play for a musical, Anything Goes. I was to meet boys. I didn't get the part. I didn't get cast in it because I had a terrible singing voice and the audition was singing. And so my father convinced me to call the director, drama teacher at home on a Sunday night and tell him, if you put me in the show, I'll make it worth your while. That was my dad's favorite line for like getting upgrades and stuff. And he thought it was good, So I got a part in the chorus, and the only song I think I was part of that I got to perform in was Blow Gabriel Blow. So that's my acting career.
Wow. That whole thing feels so inappropriate now in hindsight. The Sunday night phone call, I'll make it worth your while. I mean, wow.
All of it.
I love it. I love that your dad would go around mentioning that to like the ticket gate person, right? Just, yeah.
Oh, always. He really believed in negotiating and getting what you wanted. He always said, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. That was his one of his favorite expressions. So if he wanted something, he would ask for it, and everyone else would cringe, but then we would get a better hotel room.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's so true. You just got to speak up. There's so much there beyond the surface for us. Yeah. So thanks for mentioning Copy Chief Live is virtual this year, which is a bit of a drag because no more fun can be had than when we all get to hang out.
It's true.
And just be together and laugh and make new friends. Yeah, but we did a fun thing. We took all the energy it would have taken to do it amidst these conditions and make everybody feel safe and be safe and all that, and said, let's just figure out how you throw a really amazing virtual event. And so that's what we're doing. I'll tell you what's really cool is, again, you've been super generous to come and speak for this is your third time speaking with us, but getting speakers is obviously quite easier when you're, it's a much easier ask for a virtual event, than someone come and take 2-3 days out of their life.
Yes. And by the way, which I was plenty willing to do, because I was an immediate yes when you asked me to come, when it was supposed to be live, because it's such a fun event. And I mean, there was really no hemming and hawing to do about it. Like, I will gladly get on a plane. In this case, I don't have to, but I will get on a plane. I will pack, which is my most dreaded activity, and get on a plane and come to Florida gladly anytime to be with the kind of people that you put together. And I always end up learning so much from the other speakers. I mean, I've actually taken things that I've learned from them and used them to great profit. So
that's awesome. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's just cool. I do feel a little bit like putting together, been writing about the event, and it is one of those things where you realize the relationship capital that you've been able to create over now 16 years in this business is, it's a thing, right? And some of these friendships now I've had for a decade or more. And it's like wild. It's like, like Paris Lampropolis doesn't speak anywhere except for me when I ask, and for Brian Kurtz usually. And it's because we're very long time friends, and there's been a lot of reciprocity there.
Yeah.
Right. And so to be able to have him come, and because, when he teaches, it's pretty mind blowing every time. And so, and have you be able to say yes, and Ryan Lee, Mike McAllowitz, who's a guy I'm still getting to know and have a lot of respect for. It's just really cool. So it's going to be great. You're in day 2, which we're calling Own It. So there's 3 days, 3 themes, and these are the things. And this time, this is really cool, Laura, because in the past, it's been a little bit more like, oh, let's, make sure we cover a lot of copywriting tactics and things. But this year I wanted to go all in on helping freelancers have a better business, because frankly, that's the thing I'm most passionate about. And it's something you and I both spend a lot of time doing, helping freelancers navigate the things they need to do. And so I thought, okay, if I only have 3 days to condense down what I spend every day, the rest of the year, helping other freelancers do, it would come down to make it, own it, and sell it. Right. I think those are the 3 things people struggle with. And by make it, I mean, choose a thing or 2 and become great at them. Make what you do really great. Make it next level. Make it stand out. Make it something you love doing. Own it is pretty on the nose. Just own it. You got to show up, and you got to show your work. People have to understand what you do, and you have to own your expertise.
Yep.
And then, of course, sell it is either you sell your services better, become a better salesperson, treat your business like a business, or if it's time to create something of your own to sell, then let's get that done as well. And what's cool about all the speakers is I could have put any of them on any of those days. That was a little hard to choose. Like for you, man, to talk about make it great. You're the best I know, right? At email writing and connecting. But I had to put you on Own It, because more than anything, I think the thing people marvel at you is just like, how do you make it feel so effortless to show up and, 53,000 followers on Instagram, many followers on Facebook, and just obviously your relationship with your list. So I'll just ask you, what's the biggest struggle you see for people? I know you have your shrimp club and you coach. A lot of people come to you for this. What's the biggest struggle people have with just owning it?
I think it's the big trendy word of the decade, or phrase, I should say, imposter syndrome. People think that they are not qualified to be an authority, an expert, to call themselves an expert and present themselves as an expert in anything, to teach anything. And I think that especially happens because, people can stay in that state of not owning it, of thinking I'm not ready, or why, I'm not the one yet, for 10 years. Because I've run into other entrepreneurs who started when I started, which was like back in 2010 or so, 2009, 2010. And some of them are way beyond where I ever could even dream of going, just in terms of their list size, and they're in the 8 figures and all that. And then there are others who are like, what's your secret? Because I'm still in the same place I was back then. What is your secret? And it's usually because they're still saying, oh, not me. Like, I'm still learning. I'm not ready yet to call myself an expert, or to get on stages and teach something to an audience, to do trainings, to pitch myself to podcasts, to pitch articles to media. I'm not ready to do that because I don't know as much as other people know.
Right.
So I think it is that thought that you have to know as much, or that you have to know more than everybody, that you have to have mastered it completely. Which is a point that is impossible to mark. Like, when are you the ultimate expert? Even like somebody who's been working with clients for, say, we are talking about a copywriter or web designer or anyone like that. Someone's been working with clients for years and years and has all this work to show, and knows what works and knows what doesn't, and has great results and all that. Often they still say, like, I'm not the big personality. Sometimes that's the holdup. Like, right. I don't have the kind of personality to go out there and make it fun and interesting and exciting. So I think they just doubt themselves and compare themselves to everybody else who's just out there doing it. And sometimes those people are just either they have the confidence or they are mustering the confidence or
Yeah.
faking the confidence to
Right.
just go do it.
Yeah. I think faking it's okay. It's at first.
Yeah.
And it's just long enough to prove that, oh, yeah, nobody's calling me out here. I love what you said about, there's never an end point to the expertise that must be out there that we don't even know about. So at any given time, you could stumble across a landmine of somebody's brilliance, and that should not stop you in your tracks. You're the expert for the person who needs to hear it. And there's a good chance that hearing it from you, even if it's the third or fourth time they've ever heard it, is the time it's going to resonate. And then you get to own that breakthrough for them. And that's it just takes that to begin the relationship.
That's exactly it. We hear the same things over and over and over. And there's almost nothing new that you could tell us in terms of the stuff that we're talking about learning. And it is usually that person that you really click with, that you respond to, you somehow feel connected with, or like that you are like them, where the same exact message you've heard over and over and over finally lands, finally resonates. And, usually the people around you will be like, oh, now you decided to try juicing because so-and-so talked about their green juice.
Right.
Like, well, yeah, because that person is like me.
Yeah, 100%. I'll tell you, as a parent, I get this all the time. I could tell my kids something a million times, but they hear it from my cool friend who came for the weekend, and suddenly it's religion, and I'm like, great, like fine, like whatever it took, Hey, it's Kev here. Have you heard? Copy Chief Live is 100% virtual this year. Fine, you win, COVID. We're not going to try to get everybody together in person with all your weirdness hovering around. We'll just wait for that. You know what we're going to do instead? We're going to take all the time, energy, and money that would have went towards that chaos, and instead focusing it on creating the most incredible, dynamic, interactive, virtual experience you've ever had. That means you get to encounter the industry's top event for connecting copywriters with business owners, companies, publishers who are ready to hire you right now. You get to keep your finger on the pulse of what's working right now in marketing and in copywriting. And of course, you get everything we've learned over the last year on how to grow your freelance business. Get booked, stay booked, all of it from your favorite chair. That's right. You don't have to come to us this time. We're coming to you. We're bringing all the fun energy, the world-class experts, the down and dirty, do this, not that tactics, and our crazy successful client roundtable experience right to your living room. It's going to be off the chain, Jane. Confirmed speakers already? Best-selling author Mike Michalowicz, Laura Belgray, Paris Lampropoulos, Ryan Lee, Selena Sue, Dean Jackson, David Deutsch, Adrian Dorson, and more to come. This is far from more Zoom calls. This is next level multimedia experience with as real as it gets, digital connecting, learning, and doing. It's all happening November 9th, 10th, and 11th. Go to copychief.live to get your pass, and I will see you there. Can't wait. The other thing I like to remind people, or this is where I have to ask them to just trust me on this, is when it comes to what I call, we call authority content, that it's half sort of advertising your expertise for potential clients or whatever audience you want to build. And it's half what it does for you to solidify how much you actually know about a thing. And that's why you should choose subjects you like writing about. You had a great post recently that said, don't advertise what you don't want to do or sell. And that's so, all your stuff is, I love the way you post, because it's always the simple few words that really resonate when you need to hear it, because it's so true. So many people, they get so caught up in a business model that they forget that people are, at the end of the day, buying you. And if you're trying to squeeze yourself into some box you don't feel comfortable in, then it's not going to work. People will sense it. But if you feel joy when you're talking about certain topics, well, that's an easy choice for you. And it will always feel that way when people start to respond and want more of it from you.
Exactly. And a lot of the time, that thing that we decide brings us joy to talk about and that we become known for, sometimes it might shift. So you don't have to say like, oh, do I want to talk about that for the rest of my life? The chances are the answer will be no. That in a year or 2 years or 3 years, you'll say, I'm tired of talking about this. I want to talk about something new.
Right.
And you get to do that. You can say, oh, I don't talk about that anymore. Here's what I talk about now. So don't get caught up in that either. It's like, what brings you joy to talk about right now?
That's so great. That is, I would say, probably say the second thing I have to ask people to trust me on, that if they declare their expertise in one thing today, it's not forever. Right.
Right.
I think everybody feels like it's a coming out party and there's no going back. And I'm like, this is where it's like, yes, people need to be able to find what you do, but the whole world's not listening. I promise.
Right. You should be so lucky that they're all going to call you on it. Like that the whole world is going to say, you said you were an expert in this thing.
Right.
How dare you? Like, how dare you adjust that or shift that?
Right. And everybody knows that we're all about shifting and pivoting and all this now anyway. So very cool. What are some ways that that's shifted for you? Like, probably, I'm guessing, you were very determined for a while to get yourself known as an expert in certain things. And I know another reason I love you on Own It Day is because in the idea of your talk is by how to grow by letting go and saying no. You've stopped offering a lot of services that you probably worked really hard to make in demand.
Yes, that's true. And it was scary for me. So I was a one-on-one copywriter. I mean, originally I was copywriter for TV networks and production companies. And then I segued into writing for private clients, people who are entrepreneurs or copywriters trying to market themselves and who needed my help with their own copy. All kinds of people with small businesses and solopreneurs who needed help in that way. I would say I did work hard to make it a thriving business and to make my services desirable and in demand, and then raise my rates and ended up raising them to like a real kind of jaw-dropping sticker shock price, especially for friends of mine who are lawyers and will then never bill anywhere near that per hour. So when I decided I don't actually want to do this anymore, I don't feel like having clients anymore. It was a scary move to make, to honor that and say, well, then I'm going to take it off the menu. Again, you don't want to have something on the menu that you're not serving anymore. So I took those services off of my website. Now they're still there. Like you can find them. The copy, the offer for them hidden on my Work With Me page as just sort of a looky-loo, like look what I used to charge kind of thing and how I used to position it. But I decided that I didn't want to have any clients anymore. I didn't feel like seeing bookings on my calendar anymore. And I didn't really know how I was going to make up that income. I sort of felt my way along, but I took those services down. I started a group program, Shrimp Club, like to start to replace that income. And I created a product, Inbox Hero, and sold that. And I pushed to sell more of my mini courses, and I way more than made up for it. And it's a real leap of faith to take sometimes. Like, it was for me. It was a little bit, I feel very lucky that it worked out, but it is true what they say, when you create space for new things to happen, that's the only way to make them happen sometimes.
100%. Yeah. I remember when I knew I had to go all in on building Copy Chief, or something had to go, either my client work or Copy Chief. And I knew where my heart was. And so it was an easy choice that way to make, but it certainly wasn't trading. We're not equal incomes. Right.
Right.
And it really was the burning the ships thing. And I always say, I remember Took a lot of long dog walks that year, mild panic. Yeah. But then that's exactly what you do. You create things and you say, okay, well, what would I really love to do? It's almost like a divorce in a way, I guess. I'm not divorced, but I've seen people go through this, friends of mine, where it's this horrid, tormentful thing. And then they come out on the other side of it and they kind of have this new life and they're looser and freer and have more time and they look healthier, right?
Yeah. Or like with any breakup, you're like, well, but I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be with this person, but I don't want to be alone. And so you stay in it and it doesn't create room and nothing else can enter your world, right? Nobody else. I mean, that's not always the case, but sometimes there's overlap. Sorry.
I have seen that pattern as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, so that's a really good thing. So we're going to dive into a little bit more of that at the event. And again, I'm really appreciative that you're willing to share all this. And I know it's really a lot of it's reserved for your insiders in the Shrimp Club, which I think has been going for years now. So you've really that's something you created sort of as it maybe more of a money move at first, but you knew you'd find joy being on those calls with people more than you did one-off clients.
Oh yeah, I love doing it, and we're in round 4 right now, and I think a lot of shrimpers from Shrimp Club have gone on to create their own group programs because the format, the way we do it, is so doable and fun. That is, if you are good at coaching or giving advice or feedback on the spot. If you're not good at that and it's not something you feel comfortable with, then that's not for you. But those hot seat calls are fun for me to do. And it's such a much better calendar lifestyle than having clients many times a week or many times a day. It's like 2 calls a week. 2 calls a month on, the 3rd and 4th Tuesdays. And then we're done. It's really a compressed way to get a lot done.
And isn't it amazing that how much you can help with? Right? I love the idea of not knowing what I'm going to get hit with on those coaching calls. Sometimes like, I didn't know I had an answer for that, but I do actually,
Yeah. Let me ask you something because I'll tell you my answer, but do you ever have, like, before you get on those calls that are they weekly? Or
mine are same as yours. Yeah, I have 2 groups, so I am doing them weekly, but with different groups. Yeah.
Right. So that once a week, do you ever feel, even though you've been doing them like every week, you've been doing this kind of call for years now, do you ever feel nervous beforehand?
That's a good question. I will say less nervous than I have them on the certain days because I prepare myself those days. Like I sleep in a little later. I really want to have fresh brain on the calls. And so I will be more maybe concerned if I'm dealing with something that day or, it's a lot of busyness in the business or something. And so it's more about, and I'll literally sit there and kind of meditate and do some breathing exercises. So for me, it's more that than feeling nervous. How about you?
I do sometimes get nervous, and it's like starting at square one each time. For some reason, I always have a little bit of a, oh my gosh, what if I can't help anyone today? Like, what if my brain's not working? Or what if I don't know? What if they're asking me things that I have no idea about and it's above my pay grade? So I almost always have that. Sometimes it's just a hint of it. And sometimes it's pretty strong. And it always ends up being a great call. But I just back to the idea of owning it. Like, you think the people who present themselves as really confident and as leaders and who are great at helping people, whether it's on the spot or in a presentation or anything they're doing, you think that they go in bolstered by incredible natural confidence every time. You are wrong. There are those of us who really are faking it, at least for the first few minutes.
Yeah.
Until we ease into it every time.
No, that's great. It's so true. And then you trust that you'll get in a flow. And I think, the other thing is giving yourself permission just to be completely honest, which I know is an approach we both take. Because if somebody asks me something, I say, I don't think I know that, but I will find out. And the other thing you and I have is incredible networks to where we can go find it an answer to a question we may not
Yes.
know.
You helped me with one recently, actually, because nobody usually does this, but somebody in Shrimp Club submitted a question to me by email. Well, she floated it past me before our call, a couple of days before, saying, can I ask you, should I ask this question, or is it like not in your wheelhouse and I should come up with something else? And my first reaction to that, to myself, was, I don't really know about that. Maybe I'll tell her to come up with something else. And then I was like, wait, I can do a little research. I can call Kevin and ask him the answer. And it was about writing for a percentage for royalties.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And which is something that I've never done. And you've worked with a lot of people who have. So you had such a great answer for me right off the top. It was, you're a fantastic resource.
Well, thank you. Yeah. That's what's great is like, we probably, if we sit and think about it, and that's really a benefit to us, like, cause we're always like, oh, wow, not much I can't solve even for myself. And I think we even do it to ourselves, think we have to have all the answers when it comes to a new project or a new part of a business or an investment or something. Right. And it's like, man, that's the cool thing about this industry to me, is that we're surrounded by people who are crazy smart, but also really accessible and cool. They're just cool people. And somehow we're fortunate to be in an industry where I think it feels like everybody we're entrepreneurs. So everybody had to figure out what the heck they were doing on their own, but with help. And everybody remembers what it was like to do that. And everybody wants to give back. And so it's this amazing bounty of generous information that people are willing to give you.
Yes. I have to say, I would like when I put myself in the other person's shoes, the person who's asking the question, I would way rather have somebody be honest and say, you know what, I am stumped. That's something I don't have experience with. I'm going to dig around and find out the answer for you. Or this is the person you should ask. Way rather hear that than have somebody kind of just fake it and talk in circles and pretend that they're giving me an answer.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, but it's more respectful, right?
Yes.
It's like when you ask somebody to do something and they don't want to, and they don't just want to say, "No, that's not for me." And so they go, "Oh no, I got the thing with the kids and the thing with the thing and the thing," and you're like, "Okay, please stop saying thing." It's insulting. Just say, "I don't want to."
I always love people who will say. There was a guy that I used to work with at Spy magazine way back in the day, and he had a very charming British accent. And there was this woman who, back when you asked people out at work, who would swing by his desk every single day and be like, "Hey, Louie, you want to see a movie? Hey, Louie, you want to have lunch? Hey, Louie." I mean, she just never gave up, and good for her. And every time he would say, and now it sounds really rude, but it was, it was honest. He would say, "Oh, I can't because I don't want to." And I just love that answer so much. I can't because I don't want to. Rather than coming up with a whole thing about like, I have a thing then, I will have had surgery the day before, possibly.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how I'm going to be feeling, and the thing with the kids I can't because I don't want to.
Oh my God.
And that's something like, that's great to say in your business and get used to saying in your business. Like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't because I don't want to.
I don't want to. Oh, it's so good. We all wish we could do that more. My favorite was we were at like a school fundraiser. There's this other dad, and he had opened a restaurant. He's really good at opening restaurants, And so we were standing there, and I was like, "Hey, congratulations on the restaurant." And I was kind of, talking him up about it a little bit. And after a couple of minutes of sort of chit chat that wasn't going anywhere, he just looked at me and he goes, "Okay, I'm done." And he walked away. He physically walked away. And I was standing there, I was like, "That was awesome." It wasn't an interesting conversation. He was just done. And I was like,
that is what we all dream of doing in many conversations. I've always wanted the guts to do that. I was talking to my friend's father at a party, her dad being in his, I guess, 70s at the time. a rich man, one of those like captain of industry types who carries himself that way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I was in the middle of a sentence and I could feel that I was being boring. And he patted me on the shoulder and said, "You don't age," and walked away.
Wow. You don't age.
Yeah. Just give a bland compliment and walk away.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
That's
Nice.
great. Just like a card. He could have just handed you a card that said it, and it had that
right. I love to have cards I could give out that say, like, "I'm leaving now."
Yeah.
I'm walking away. Just give them the card and walk away.
Yeah. What was the one that Steve Martin had a brilliant thing? He probably still does it. You ever hear that? Like he would hand out a card that it was already pre-signed, right? When people would ask for signatures instead of selfies. And it said something to the effect of, "I met Steve Martin and he was the most, brilliant, sincere person I've ever encountered," or something like that. And it was signed by him. And it was just a really cute way to quickly get people to move on,
Yes. Perfect. Without them feeling bad.
Yeah. Or there's the great Bill Murray legacy, right? Where he's the king of disappearing, but he'll also appear in people's lives completely randomly, spend a whole night with them or like jam with their band. And then everybody will be going, "Wait, where'd Bill Murray go? We just called 10 people and told them Bill Murray is here and he's gone."
Right. Right. It's like Bill Murray showed up at my bar mitzvah and then disappeared.
Yeah.
That's his way.
This is great, Laura. I really appreciate it. And again, we'll be seeing you about 1 month from now at Copy Chief Live. Can't wait to go deeper with you on this kind of stuff, owning it and getting rid of stuff you don't love doing anymore. How do we get comfortable doing that?
Oh, it's the best. I can't wait to talk more about it with you.
Thank you so much. All right. We'll talk again really soon. Laura Belgray, everybody. Let's hear it. That's right. We're going to put in huge roar of applause. All right, talk soon.
Please do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye. Hey, don't forget your goodies. Head over to copychief.com/copychiefradio to get some great free stuff to help you put the things you hear on the show into action for your business. Copychief.com/CCR.